Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr., my good friend. And, of course, it is Monday as we start a new week and we're heading toward the start of college football. We're expecting Mike Amos to call any minute now. It is Monday, August the 12th, and
Golly, I'm almost halfway through August. Unbelievable. My daughter's birthday is August 20th. My birthday was August 1st, so a lot of birthdays in August for the Rice family.
School is in for everybody, is that right?
Yep, the Troy City School students started Thursday, so they had 2 days.
Yeah. And your little girl will be in the second grade?
She's in the second grade.
And she's a cute little thing, and she was on our show. And, of course, the elementary school is quite some facility, and it holds over 1,000 people, doesn't it?
I remember when they built it. You can, too.
Yeah.
That was big news.
Well, if you included the kindergarten, which I think, they started 4th or 5th year kindergarten over there. Do you know?
They have K4 on the limited scale, I think. I don't think it's everybody that wants to be in it, but they have some K4, I think. And then they definitely have kindergarten.
What's that line across there? I don't know who put that line across there. We're coming to you live from our studios on South Grundy Street in Troy, Alabama. We're laid-back television at its very, very best, and I hope that you enjoy our show today. And call in. Our number is at the bottom of your left of screen, 670-0052. Alabama, Auburn, Troy, all of them are getting ready. Alabama's already had 3 major players injured. Is that right?
Well, one of them before the season, but 3 people projected to start are not practicing now. And then Alabama also lost the 5-star running back freshman from the IMG Academy. He's supposed to be really good. He hurt his foot and is supposedly out, going to have a surgery and is out for the year.
Oh, man.
But by my count, there's a defensive end named LeBron Ray who's really good and important. He hasn't practiced yet. They expect him back in a week or so, maybe this week. Yeah. A freshman that did great in the spring with the last name Dale is their nose guard that was running first team, and he's now hurt.
That hurts when you lose some of those front folks.
Yeah, but I think they expect him back. And then the inside linebacker next to Dylan Moses, Josh McMillan, a redshirt senior, was doing well and supposed to start his last year, hurt his knee in the scrimmage.
Oh,
and we haven't heard if it's season ending or maybe it's a sprain.
Oh, boy. I hate that.
And then also Alabama had their first-string tight end, Miller Forrestall, just came back to practice. You know, some of these people had injuries even coming into camp. And then, it's just, I guess that's part of football, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it is. But, and of course they say don't hit before the season. And I can sort of understand that when you lose all these top players. And, of course, Alabama, even though they're good and have a lot of depth, can't afford to lose key players like those running backs.
Last year Alabama lost 2 outside linebackers, Terrence Lewis and Chris Allen, before the season. They got hurt in off-season workouts, and that later hurt Alabama because that hurt Alabama's pass rush, and especially in the Clemson game. So, then the year before, Alabama had a rash of injuries like I've never seen a team have and overcame them and still won a national championship. So
here it is. Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers coach Darryl Drake has died. He was 62. The team said Drake was joining the coaching staff in 2018, died early Sunday morning. And that is sad to hear. And it doesn't say exactly what his ailment was, but it said he died at the age of 62.
Well, somebody else died this weekend, Jeffrey Epstein, if y'all remember me a couple weeks ago talking about how explosive his case could be, because he allegedly has dirt on every leader in the world. Well, he died allegedly of suicide. after he had just attempted to take his own life 2 weeks earlier. So a lot of people are talking about how in the world could that happen.
Yeah, that's right. No question about it. And of course, you know, those are things that hopefully will blow away. I hate to even hear about some of the crimes they've committed. Of course, Patrick Reed wins the Liberty National golf tournament. He led through Saturday, and he's going to go home with a hefty sum of $1.665 million for his efforts. And he was one stroke ahead of Abraham Answer, a young golfer, and who did well for himself. He took home $999,000.
They ain't gonna take that home because the federal government gets 37%, and then that tournament was in New Jersey, and I have read up on their state income tax. It's 10%, so the government will get 47%. But still, you would take it.
Yeah, that is. Jordan Spieth, who played well in this tournament, was way back. Well, and it wasn't really that far back. Was only 4 strokes back, and took home $299,000. Was Everett McElroy, same amount, $299,000. Gosh, there was a bunch of them that were tied in that area. But of course,
I like this FedEx. Over. I like this FedEx tournament, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah, I like it a lot.
At the end of because it keeps all the good big names playing.
That's right. And a lot of people that don't like Reed, he won a big tournament not too long ago, and you heard a lot of people say it. But I like him. I like the way he carried himself. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Morning.
Speaking of the guy, Patrick Reed is on the phone from New York City this morning. How you doing, Patrick?
I wish I was Patrick Reed and won $1.7 million.
Well, every time y'all do that, I'm going to tell everybody that the government takes a bite. So.
Yeah. If he takes home $1 million, he'll be lucky, Mike.
Well, I mean, his caddy gets a pretty good bit too.
I learned that I studied up on state income tax rates when I was doing my story on James Holzhauer, the Jeopardy champ, and how much the government took from his winnings. But you also, Mike, you might have remembered that Quinnen Williams held out, the Alabama great nose guard, when he signed with the New York Jets. And the reason he held out is something to do with the tax rate in Alabama compared to New Jersey, which is where the Jets actually practice and the players live. In New Jersey, the state income tax is 10.3, and in Alabama, it's 5%. So he wanted all of his bonus, as much of it right now, and he wanted it while he was a resident of Alabama, so he could keep that extra 5%.
I don't blame him.
Don't blame him, yeah.
And a lot of
horrible news out of Tuscaloosa over the weekend after the first scrimmage. Have y'all talked about that yet?
No. Well,
a little
we
bit.
have. Yeah, we have.
Okay, I was about to say Alabama loses 5-star running back Trey Sanders, who was out of IMG Academy, and then they lost Josh McMillan, who was the redshirt senior linebacker that was starting next to Dylan Moses. Now, Alabama's already really thin at linebacker, so that could be really tough to find somebody to fill his spot. That guy, bless his heart, redshirt freshman was finally starting. You got a feel for him.
I know it, no question. And
well, we haven't heard for sure if it's season ending yet.
No, it's season ending. It's been reported by Apple.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now the running back. Where was he on the depth chart?
I watched the running back play against Hoover, and he's the real deal. He was coached by the great Carnell Cadillac Williams at IMG, and now Cadillac Williams makes $375,000 a year as the running back coach at Auburn.
Yeah, I got you, and he'll be able to recruit that area too, I bet. But where did he stand on the depth chart?
Well, I mean, he was running probably third string, but I mean, Najee Harris. Then, of course, you got Brian Robinson, the kid out of Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa, and then you got Jerome Ford, a kid out of Florida. But this kid, they said, was just, lighting it up in practice, looked phenomenal.
Oh, me. And he is gone for the year.
Yeah.
So that's 2 gone for the year already.
Man, oh, man, that's tough.
First choice scrimmages, and Chip Lindsey reported that, they had a great scrimmage, and everybody was healthy, and he was very pleased. I watched the the news conference. Very impressive to see Chip Lindsey and then Ryan Pugh, the young offense coordinator. Of course, Pugh was on Auburn's national championship team, started for 4 years, was a center for Cam Newton, and then Brandon Hall, the defense coordinator. I mean, all of them were very impressive in the press conference.
How long was that press conference? Do you know?
It's 22 minutes, so if you want to fill a show one day at the very end, you can turn it
well,
on.
I know. We would like to keep up with it, and I saw partial.
They were making rave reviews, which makes me feel really good about defensive front. They said the defensive front was dominating at times.
And their linebackers, they liked their defensive front and their linebackers. In fact, everybody was raving about the defense.
Well, the defense is usually ahead of the offense this early.
You're right.
Yeah, he said Barker looked good, but he made some mistakes, and then he said Gunnar Watson's, really been looking well, looking good as well. But I think he threw a couple interceptions.
They said he ran for 50, had a 50-yard touchdown run. Watson did.
They keep on talking about DK Billingsley. Apparently, he's having a really good camp.
Yeah. And another ace in the hole is the ability of Barker to be able to run. See, they're not going to run him during the scrimmage. And when he's able to run, it makes that offense completely different.
How did
just don't want him to get hurt, though.
How did he hurt his knee? Do y'all remember?
He was in the Georgia State game, just running out on the sidelines. He said that he had already tore his ACL before then, but was still able to play on it, which is phenomenal to think that somebody could play on a torn ACL.
Now, people are going to laugh, and they're going to say, you don't know what you're talking about. You are out of your tree. What are you talking about? Well, let me just say this. He was embarking, when he got hurt, on 300 yards in the first quarter. He could have broke Troy could have broken the NCAA total offense record that day. 300 yards in the first
total offense, throw it in and run it.
He was having a game like Cherry Good was having against Boston College when he blew out his knee in the early third quarter against Flutie.
Well.
He is receiving, ran back to kickoff for a touchdown, was running for over 100 yards, and
I remember that well. It was on TV.
You never know.
Now Kerry Good's got ALS and can't even talk anymore. It's just tragic.
Really? Oh, man. That's sad, no question about it.
Alabama High School Football Association's released their top 15 prospects for 2019. Do you want to hear them?
I'd love to hear about it, yeah.
Number 15 is Eric Shaw, linebacker athlete out of Reeltown.
Reeltown.
6'4", 210.
That's usually an Auburn area.
Mm-hmm.
He is uncommitted. Number 14 is Dazalian Warsham. He originally committed to Alabama, but then uncommitted. That kind of means that Alabama probably brought in somebody else. But he's 6 foot, 185 wide receiver. He's now looking at Auburn and Miami and Arkansas.
And what is his name again?
His name's kind of hard to pronounce. There's Dazalian Warsham.
Okay.
And then after that, you got Robbie Ashford, the great quarterback out of Ole Miss. A lot of people think he could be a first-round pick in the Major League Baseball draft. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. He's committed to Ole Miss.
Where's he from?
Hoover.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Jackson Bratton. This guy's committed to Alabama 2 years ago. He's a linebacker out of Muscle Shoals, 6'3", 233. After that, you got Jababi and Cohen, Central Phoenix City offensive lineman, 6'5", 275. He's committed to Auburn. You got Chris Adams Drain, wide receiver out of Spanish Fort, 6'1", 170. Another Ole Miss commit out of Spanish Fort. He originally committed to LSU, but now is at Ole Miss. A commitment to Ole Miss. And this is an interesting name, Logan Smothers. He was at Athens High School, but now he's committed to Muscle Shoals. Muscle Shoals must be pretty good in football.
Committed to Ole Miss, or who did he commit?
He's 6'2", 180. Is committed to Nebraska.
Oh, man.
Oh, interesting.
Out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Then you got Cam Riley.
Well, one of the best receivers ever to play at Alabama came out of Muscle Shoals.
Who's that?
The great one, the wide receiver.
He came out of Leaton.
Yeah, well, Muscle Shoals. No, not Roger Newsom.
Who are you talking about? Dennis Holman?
Dennis Holman came out of Muscle Shoals.
The Swampers are from Muscle Shoals.
The great Dennis, you're exactly right, Dennis
Holman?
Holman.
Then this guy played for the great one, the great Charles Henderson coach at Hillcrest Evergreen, Mike Dean, 6'3", 210, has committed to Auburn. Cam Riley is number 8 on the list. This is top 15 players in the state of Alabama. Number 7 is J.J. Evans out of Montevallo, wide receiver, 6'2", 185. He's going to Auburn as well.
Boy.
Then you got a guy named E.J. Williams out of Central Phoenix City. He is uncommitted, very comparable to Justin Ross, the kid that was phenomenal at Clemson last year.
What, is he a down lineman or what is he?
Receiver.
No, he's a wide receiver, 6'3", 190.
Oh, man.
And then a guy named Christian Story, we talked about him a few weeks ago. He's the quarterback out of Lynette, quarterback athlete. He's number 5. He's going to Alabama. And then this kid is the number 4 prospect, defensive back out of Hewitt-Trussville. Malachi Moore, 6'180". He's going to Alabama. And then this guy they're talking about is a phenom out of Hueytown, Rondell Williams, Hueytown running back, 5'10", 205. He's going to Alabama. He rushed for 2,800 yards last year.
Oh, man.
Alabama needs him this year.
And then a lot of people are talking about this guy's could be like the next Derek Thomas. Quindarius Robinson, the kid out of Jackson Olin, which Alabama's lost a lot of guys to Jackson Olin because their head coach is such an Auburn fan and Auburn grad. But Quindarius Robinson, 6'5", 230, out of Jackson Olin, is number 2, is going to Alabama. And this guy apparently is the next C.J. Mosley, number 1. Demion Kennedy, Theodore, linebacker, 6'3", 205, is going to Alabama as well. So that's your top 15 players in the state of Alabama.
Boy.
Did y'all watch the NFL preseason games this week? Had some local players, local connections do well. Most notably, Mac Wilson, the linebacker from Carver High School in Montgomery that went out early in the draft, had 2 interceptions in his first preseason game and returned one of them for a touchdown. And then also had several tackles. This is the guy that a lot of people said, oh, he shouldn't go pro. Well, I think at least he can play in the pros.
It's pretty amazing. He always had a lot of interceptions at Alabama, but in that game, Carver High School had to be really blessed to see that. You had Sean Dion Hamilton and Matt Wilson on the same field playing an NFL game.
Oh, man, that was something, no question about it. And they just keep coming. How many of those out of the top 15 are going to Auburn? How many are going to Alabama? Do you know?
I'd have to go down the list again.
And of course, none of these guys have been signed. They've all committed. Is that right?
That's right.
That's right. You got 2 going to Ole Miss. You got, let's see, 2 going to Auburn. No, 3 going to Auburn. And then you've got 6 going to Alabama.
6 going to Alabama, okay. So they're recruiting well in state then, aren't they?
That's kind of a change, isn't it?
Yeah.
The last couple of recruiting classes.
They say this is the best class coming out of Alabama in years this year.
And a lot of them are defensive players, aren't they?
Yeah, most of them are.
So that receiver from Phoenix City and the running back you said was so good.
Evidently, Dubose leans toward Auburn in recruiting, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think his wife was an Auburn cheerleader from what I remember.
Oh, I see, okay. Well, they're sure coming out of Phoenix City in a big way, and you would think that before long he's going to get a job out of this deal. He says, well, I'll help you get this guy if you'll give me a job. That's where a lot of them
I remember when we interviewed a long time ago when he was Troy's interim coach, and he mentioned that one of the best jobs out there he thought was Huntington. You know, Mike Turk's job to have that one day.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and now
stuff like that.
the ultra-successful high school coaches increasingly make the jump to college assistant and then
That's right.
college head coach.
Look at Malzahn.
So there are plenty of high school coaches that could be just as good or better than the college coaches. I mean, in my mind.
Appreciate our sponsors, Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. I bought a brand new Jeep the other day, and I love it. I tell you, drove to the beach with it, and good gas mileage, just very good performance. And I bought it from a good buddy, Jason Gregory at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep.
Yeah, it's a good-looking car. It's got good-looking tires on it, too. It's real stylish.
Do you like that? Do you like those tires?
Yeah, I like them.
All right, brother. You bought you one this weekend, too, son. You on...
I bought one on Friday. I had to go back and get what I had before, the Lexus RX 350. It's one of my all-time favorite driving cars. My wife and I loved it so much, we had to go get another one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they are good.
Bill Rice is with us, and of course, Bill.
We ate it.
First day of preschool for the girls down here, so I'm going to be in and out on the phone, but I'll definitely call back when I get a chance. But I'm going to be on for another 10 minutes. But got my little one starting school down here today. I was a little nervous last night trying to sleep. We moved these little girls down here from Birmingham. We're kind of starting over in preschool, and hopefully all of them will have a good week of school. So.
And the school is located over there at a very familiar place, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's where Eden State Park is. It's right there on the bay, Point Washington.
You ever been to Eden State Park?
No, but I've heard y'all talk about it. It sounds nice.
It's that Point Washington?
Antebellum home with all the beautiful oak trees and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people have parties and stuff out there. I actually had my rehearsal dinner out there before I got married down here.
Yeah.
Well, how old is your oldest?
Mary Prater will be actually 3 next Monday, so she's still 2 for another week, and then Millie, my youngest, is 1, and it's going to be 2 in October. So.
When is Mary? What date is Mary Prater's birthday?
She is the 19th. My wife's the 16th, and
mine was the first.
Oh, really?
And my daughter Maggie is the 20th.
They're having a big birthday party this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I've got my wife's, one of my best friends, Richard Calhoun, is the 17th, and then my daughter's is the 19th.
A lot of Leos.
Yeah, no question about it.
Maggie's having her birthday party at the Troy Rec Center.
Oh,
so it's going to be a swimming party, and they've got rooms where you can eat the cake. So I didn't know that you can have birthday parties out there.
Yeah, yes, sir. I tell you, Dan Smith does a great job, no question about it. I want to mention our good friends at First National Bank of Troy Brundage, and John Ramage, of course, President and CEO, and of course, his dad, Jimmy Ramage, still on the board. I mean, he's chairman of the board, wouldn't you think? And of course, a great guy and a great bank, First National Bank of Brundage. Appreciate all of our supporters this morning, and I want to mention.
Can I give a plug to one of them?
Yeah.
We went to church yesterday at First Methodist. We're having our August Awakening, and had a special time, 10 o'clock service. So we got out early, Mike, at 11 o'clock, so we could beat the crowd, and we went to Sisters. And we did. We didn't have a wait at all, and had the usual great meal. We sat next to the Reeves clan, the Reeves family, our mayor, and his daddy and mother. So they were about
the Johnny
14.
Till Award winner, was he there, the big guy?
Yeah, there were about 14 of them. Ooh, I'm glad I didn't have to pick up that check.
Yeah, well, the mayor can handle it. He can handle it.
I wonder who picked it up, if it was the mayor or his daddy.
Oh, well, maybe so. His daddy's quite a lawyer, no question. You know him pretty well, don't you, Mike?
Yeah, I've been around him many times.
Was John Reed there? Was John Reeves there?
There were about 8 of them, so I guess he was.
Yeah, they're extremely close family. They do a lot together. I saw where Mayor Reeves and Will, as who you're talking about, who won the Till Award. I guess he's a big Red Sox fan, and Jason and Ellie took Will to his first Red Sox game a few weeks ago. I saw that. Will's going to be going to Alabama, so I imagine that Alabama's probably. Has Troy started yet?
Yeah, Troy starts Wednesday, I believe, Wednesday.
Yeah, so Alabama will probably start this week.
Yeah.
I know he's going to Alabama. I think he's pledging K up there.
Yeah,
All right,
great.
awesome.
He's a big guy. I tell you what, he could play. I'm not saying he could play in the SEC, but he could play for a lot of people. He's a big guy.
He's a guy that's got the size. I mean, 6'4", 290 pounds. He definitely, is a huge kid.
And he's a good athlete. He's not just a football player. He was a good baseball player too.
So
very good athlete.
As far as Troy University, they had their Greek, their bid day, all the sororities and all that. Was that Sunday or Saturday?
Yeah, they had that Saturday. And there's tons of people on campus now. And I went to see the band last night after I got back in, and they got rained out, so they went indoors, so I couldn't hear them. But I usually love to hear that finale. And they're gonna be back on the field on Thursday. They're gonna give them, they had 3 days, and let me tell you, you got to be in shape to go through their 3 days. It was tough around there in that heat, and I tell you, everybody's got to be real careful with this heat. If you're gonna do something, do it right now, because it's gonna be hot way before noon today. It's gonna be a very hot, blistery day. So please be careful and stay out of this heat.
Somebody wants to get a great spiritual message, they can go to First Methodist Church tonight through Wednesday night. The public's invited at 6 o'clock. The church is having something called the August Awakening, and for 4 nights. And the speaker is a guy that is a professor of a seminary in Kentucky, and he got his doctorate degree from Cambridge.
Oh, boy.
He's a good old friend and professor of Steve Winton, the pastor at First Methodist. But I don't think that this church has had a public invited, old-fashioned type spiritual awakening event. Tim Sims is going to do the music. There's a nursery. But anyway, if somebody wants to do something different and get an inspiring message, I invite y'all to come to First Methodist at 6 o'clock. Tonight, Tuesday night, and or Wednesday night. And I'm a member, and I'm on the communications committee, so I said I would mention that.
Yeah. Want to mention, of course, my good friend who we lost this past week, and I noticed that the big car owner in Michigan, Mike, is going to have sort of a celebration
Jack
for
Ross,
him.
there's a great article that's come out. Steve Camp has it. I saw it on Facebook. But it's basically a tribute to Larry Hicks saving his life. Yeah. So all of the Rouse racing team will have "Thanks Larry" on the back of their racing cars. It might have been this weekend, but a great tribute to his hero, he called him.
How about that? That was such
Harvey.
Maybe that article could be pulled up. I'll let you read it this weekend when I pulled it up.
Exactly. What does Harvey drive usually? Mustang, doesn't he? He would drive the Ford, so that's one of his.
About NASCAR, I don't know if is Rouse Ford. Is that what he's got?
Yeah, that's right. I think he owned that car, didn't he? Huh?
Rouse Ford.
Yeah, he's always been a Ford guy.
Didn't he win the winner was driving a Mustang?
What's when?
Yesterday, Harvey, on Sunday at Brooklyn, and they were going to honor our good friend. They did. Okay, and what do they do? They just had stickers. What do they do?
A decal that said "Thanks, Larry."
Thanks, Larry, and it looks like they won the race too. So that's wonderful.
Maybe somebody in the back could pull out that decal that was on the cars. And that was a really great article written about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. No question about
We
it.
talked about Rouse. It's amazing. He survived that crash, and then he was in another crash about 8 or 9 years later. So he's got 9 lives, it sounds like.
Yeah, no question. Excuse me for shuffling pages, but I was trying to find more information on that. Of course, Alabama is off to a shaky start.
Apparently, Mac Jones is looking phenomenal in preseason camp. Saban was even raving about him. Saban and raving about anybody. So that's going to make Alabama feel a lot better if Tua does get hurt, that Jones is looking really good.
I've heard Max Howell say that if Tua goes down, Alabama's season is shot. I don't think so at all. I think Alabama has enough weapons, and then I think that Mac Jones would be good enough to complete passes. I've seen him in the last 2 8A games going against the Alabama defense, and he completes passes. So if he's got the first team receivers and running backs with him, he's not going to be Tua, of course. But don't you think he would be competent and just as good as, Greg McElroy or Blake Sims or Coker, I think he would be.
I mean, I think he can definitely play. I watched him just in mop-up duty. He's got a cannon for an arm. He seems like he's really confident. I know he's a smart kid.
I noticed that the Braves will is going to have a long home stay, and boy, that'd be a great opportunity to go over and watch the Braves play.
Look at all the empty seats.
I'll call you back.
You're right. No question. There's a lot of empty seats, and this time of year, especially with football starting. But if you want to see the Braves, this would be a great time to do it. And I thought about riding over there. I haven't been to the new stadium. Have you been to the new stadium?
No, we talked about going. I would love to see it. And this rebuilding program that the Braves management started a couple years ago, this has definitely worked, hasn't it?
No question about it. We were talking earlier about the Troy magazine. It's out, and with some good stories about a lot of people. A group from Troy's dance and theater got to go to Italy and also parts of France. I'm sure those kids had a big time. And anytime a university can provide kids the opportunity to study abroad, it's really great. Troy's been able to do that.
Anytime you get to go abroad, it's great. For most people, it'll be a trip of a lifetime. I remember when I was in high school, the Blue Machine got to go to England and London.
Isn't that amazing?
For a trip, and man, they just had a fantastic time. And I guarantee every one of the people on that trip remember it to this day.
No question about it. And of course, the chancellor, had a big trip overseas. Going to several of the Troy schools over there, locations, and he said he had a great trip. Of course, it's again, we're just so fortunate to be able to go abroad and to see other people and learn other cultures. And
boy, they are getting the campus
really
pretty. I've seen the people laying the pine straw and pulling the weeds, and not only is it one of the prettier campuses in the South, but the maintenance is fantastic too. It's just taking care of the details of making sure the campus is always pretty. They do a fantastic job.
No question about it. Here's some information coming in here. Yeah, that is wonderful.
Harvick's not Ross driving.
He's not? Okay.
This is really wonderful.
Ryan Newman and Stenhouse.
Yeah. And of course, Sergeant Major Larry Hicks. Thanks, Larry. This was on all the cars that Rouse owns that was in the race this weekend, and Larry, bless his heart, fought cancer for a long time, but I'm sure the date of this. I don't know how many years ago it was that he saved the life of Larry Hicks.
Larry Hicks saved the life of Jack Roush.
Well, exactly. Larry Hicks was sitting in his den watching TV one afternoon.
He was watching the Channel 12 news. I remember
that. And he out of one side, he told me, he said it was just out of one side of his eye, he saw something go down in the lake behind it, because his house, was right up against the lake there.
Palos Verdes Estates.
And he just happened to have one of his fish boats with one of these small 5-horsepower trolling motors. And he ran, and it was ready to go, and he jumped in there and went all the way out there. And at the time, I don't know what you'd actually call these planes, but these were sort of man-made experimental type planes, and they were, a fun type plane to fly. And he went down in that lake. I don't know if he picked the lake or was having trouble. I think I would rather hit the lake than the hard ground, wouldn't you?
Well, that might have saved his life if he did pick the lake. Yeah.
But he did go down, and Larry went out there, and when Larry got there, Rouse was actually trapped underneath the water. The seat belts had trapped him, and thank goodness he knew what to do. He was able to go down and bring Rouse up. And by actually holding on to Rouse Rouse, he was able to give him resuscitation. That's how
In the
much you
water.
knew about it, in the water. And he resuscitated him, and during all that time, he had gotten burned real bad with gas that was all over the water at the time. And it was a great, great effort by Larry Hicks to save the life of Rouse, who is the big automobile owner, race car owner. And 20 years ago, how long ago was it?
Approximately, yeah.
About 20 years ago, this happened. And of course, Larry, we lost him after his long battle with the cancer. And what a great man Larry Hicks was, and his memory.
He was a
will live on.
retired sergeant major in the Marine Corps, right?
Oh, yeah, you're exactly right.
If you're a sergeant major, that's the highest rank you can, non-commissioned rank you can get.
He was a big-time Marine and a very good game warden. You know, a lot of people knew him, and of course, he was a wonderful guy, and we're going to miss him, no question about it. He went to Robert E. Lee High School. He was a Robert E. Lee running back at one time, a long time ago, and again.
Became super close with the Rouses.
Exactly.
His entire family did, I believe.
No question about it. And Rouse gave back a lot after this heroic effort by Hicks, and we appreciate him very much. You know, they've got a big billboard on the Montgomery side coming in, saying Troy is the most beautiful college in America, and I can attest to that.
I haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
Well, you know, they either self-proclaim it or what, the most beautiful campus in America, and it is beautiful, and we do appreciate the efforts of the people that have made it a beautiful place.
It seems like every year, every 2 years, they have a major project, and then, you know, after 25 years, all those major projects add up, don't they? And so
No question about
then you
it.
slowly transform the whole campus.
No question about it, and we.
And I think that the campus can expand a little bit. They have some other places they could buy property, and they have bought and acquired property, including the children's home.
Yeah. And I tell you something else that really, really is nice is the park, and and then with the soldiers guarding the park, and
Terracotta Warriors.
Yeah, they're building a big walking trail down through toward the Laguna.
Yeah.
They beautified that area, and they've got new walkways, and it is quite a sight, the new park at Troy University.
You know what I wish we could do? I wish they'd do a similar project on the Charles Henderson High School campus, since they have so much land, beautiful landscaping and terraces.
Well, I'm going to say it for the upteenth time, and people, evidently, they do not want to hear this, but I have told them this, for the last 20 years. They've got to put some kind of rail guards on George Wallace Drive going downhill from Charles Henderson High School, like you're going toward Elm Street.
Yeah.
If a car goes off there, it's over. I mean, the fall would kill anybody if a car goes out there. And what I'm so afraid of one day is a young kid's going to leave there on his car, going to start talking on his phone, not realize what he did, and jump the curb and go off that huge ravine there. But all it takes is a rail. Go by it sometime and take a look. It needs a guardrail, because if somebody goes off, they're dead. I mean,
the best
it'd be
safety
miraculous
measure,
if they live.
the best investment you can make to save lives is those small guardrails you see on the highways.
Yeah.
What are they, 2-3 feet high, that keeps people from cars rolling down the shoulder.
We've
and
been
slipping.
very fortunate that it's not happened, but it's an accident that's, you've heard that saying, an accident fixing to happen. Well, that's exactly what this is, and somebody's got to step up and do something about it, because what we're talking about, a guardrail starting from the girls' softball complex, after you pass the softball complex, going down the hill toward Elm Street, that area right there for about 50 to 100 yards, maybe even a little bit further than that, needs guardrails on the right-hand side.
It'll
There's no
eventually.
trees. There's nothing to stop that car once it goes off. It's no trees there. So what it is, it's a huge fall that an automobile could make. I'm not trying to be morbid here, but it's a chance.
Can I tell you a story about guardrails?
Yeah.
I read an article or a book. I think John Stossel, the well-known 2020 news reporter, he was doing a report on contaminated lead soil at some site, and the billions of dollars that the government had spent removing this dirt from near a site that allegedly had lead in the sand. Well, some scientists said, yeah, that lead is dangerous, but somebody would have to eat a bucket of sand for like 10 years in a row to have any adverse health effects. And they spent all this money, and then Stossel's point is, you know, if you're going to spend money to try to save lives, do it in a way that you know it'll save lives. And the example he gave was put miles and a lot more miles of guardrails along roadways, because we know that saves lives.
Yeah. No question
That
about
always
it.
that
And remember, I
anecdote always
said
stayed with
that,
me.
and I'm not trying to brag or anything. I just want something done before something happens. And I tell you what, if you had a child that went down that road daily, you would be very concerned, or should be very concerned. But or adult, it doesn't matter if somebody goes off that side
On
of
the
the road.
I have noticed that the state is putting up more guardrails on the sides of 4-lane highways, and then also you see them between medians. So you know it keeps the cars that cross the median hitting somebody else going the other way.
There's a company right here in Troy that's one of the leading guardrail construction companies in the state or in the South.
Didn't even know that.
That's right. The young man that runs that place named Jay Corley.
Well, Jay is a distant cousin of mine.
That's right, Jay Corley.
Good for Jay.
Is one of the people that run that place, and of course, I'm sure they probably have heard people complain about it, but it's something that really needs to be done, and hopefully somebody will hear it that can make something happen here. Of course, we're thumbing through the magazine and looking at all the wonderful work the university does on their magazine, and
Looks like the new physical fitness center is getting closer to completion.
no question about it. It's going to be one of the top facilities like that, wellness center, in the whole state of Alabama or anywhere.
It's beautiful too.
And of course, I'm sure they'll make it a beautiful place. And you know, everything they do now has some real architectural benefits.
Yeah,
And we're appreciative.
it all is uniform and ties in together. You know who would really love seeing all this is my father, because he took an interest in the beauty of the campus, and
No question about it.
and that was one of the points he made when talking about the Hawkins administration, is that you know he made Troy's campus look like a Division I college campus, and I think Mrs. Hawkins deserves a lot of credit for that too. She takes a great interest in it as well. So it's paid off. I mean, some of it was controversial, you know. Cutting down some of those trees and closing the roadway around the main quad.
That did it. That got it started right there.
Yeah.
When they did that, and of course alleviated an eyesore, because those pecan trees were all beaten up badly by storms over the past. You know.
And I think they went back to the original plans of the quad that were done by the guy who designed Central Park.
That's right. The architectural firm that designed it, and good article also on Dr. Fred Davis. Do you know Dr. Davis?
I know who he is.
He was a great, not only a great teacher, but also a man that made a lot of things happen at Troy University. A very talented man, former Georgia graduate, and Fred Davis's pre-law scholarship will benefit deserving pre-law students with a preference for English majors, and he was an English major, and did a lot of writing for Troy University, and really just an outstanding individual, and we appreciate him so much. And as we thumb through, also Nick Severa created endowed scholarships. My good friends Carmen and Nick are pictured here in the magazine, and we do appreciate Nick and the years of service. I want to read this to you about my good friend Nick Severa. He would be embarrassed, but he's probably shaving right now. Carmen, get him in the room. In addition to being a committed donor to athletics, Troy University attorney Nick Severa has endowed 5 scholarships, all named in honor of family and friends. For me, I just feel like when someone has given to you, you give back, Severa said. That's what I want to be. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, Severa wanted a life different from that of his childhood friends who were finding themselves in trouble, including facing prison sentences. After learning of Troy State Teachers College, he and his best friend Al Sansone started out on a journey that would change Severa's life forever. I look at this institution as being my salvation on this earth anyway, he said. Severa completed his undergraduate degree and went on to law school in Birmingham, but soon enough, his path brought him back to Troy, first as an assistant business professor and later the university's attorney. In all, he's worked for Troy for more than 50 years and has witnessed changes both great and small. I really feel like I owe something to this university or this institution, Severa said. Whatever I've accomplished in life, it is greatly attributable to Troy. And what a well stated.
Thank you, Nick.
You're right, one of the great men in this community, and I tell you, I've known Nick a long time, and nobody loves this university anymore, Nick Severa, and he has shown it not only as a supporter of going to games all over the country, but as a loyal giver of scholarships and other means that he supported our university. So again, we appreciate you so very much, Nick Severa. So in fact, Nick, this show, the Today in LA, self-proclaimed today Nick Severa Day. In fact, it is the 12th day of August, and we proclaim it Nick Severa Day in Troy, Alabama.
Well, I never knew the story that how did he find out about Troy State Teachers College from Brooklyn, New York?
I want to say it was some either a teacher that he, in high school or some friend that went down there, and after he went, a few other friends from the university.
I'll tell you a similar story.
From Brooklyn came down, and before we get away from it, Al Sansone, who was his best friend, he and his wife both were tragically killed in an automobile accident 25 or 30 years ago at least. And what a sad note, but hey, Nick took charge and took care of his children for a long time, and I don't know on how involved he was, but very involved in those children, I'm sure.
So they both came down together.
Appreciated so much what he did to help them.
I remember when I had the Troy Citizen, a guy that was a college student came by for some reason to the newspaper, and I just started talking to him, and his story was amazing. He was from the state of Washington, and him and his buddy just on the whim said, let's see some of the country and let's go to these pretty beaches down in Florida. I think they went to New Orleans, and then they went to the beaches in Florida. And they were riding back, going to their next destination, and their car died right here in Troy. And they said, well, we're going to make this town our home. And he started going to school and working at Troy University. I don't know if he graduated, but he found his wife here in Troy. So just...
You remember his name or anything?
It slips my... I did a feature story on him. Real nice. He was a big University of Washington football fan. I remember that. Real nice guy, but
what I like about this magazine, it goes out to close to 100,000 people
It's a good-looking
all over
magazine.
the country. And of course, a very good article on Troy's new athletic director, Brent Jones, and his lovely family.
What a pretty
You
family.
talk about a guy that outkicked his coverage when he married Tracy. Gosh, she's a lovely lady, and his family is beautiful, and Brent Jones will do a great job. Also, a very good article on Coach Scott Cross, the new basketball coach at Troy. Very good picture of him, and of course, this is Scott and Brent's wife and family, and also Scott Cross's picture of him in this magazine. If you don't have one of these, of course, it just came to my house in the mail. There's plenty of them out there, so pick up one and keep it, because it is a keepsake. I keep every one of them. And also a very good article on the new head football coach, Chip Lindsey, and you saw him, and you had to be impressed with him.
I think he's a perfect fit for Troy. He's got the right personality, and he's going to fit in the community, and I think everybody that meets him is going to like him. And plus, he definitely knows how to coach football. His record proves that. So we need to support him and the program, and help him do everything we can to crack the top 25. I'm pulling for the 12-0 season in the top 10.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, everybody wants you to go out right now and purchase your tickets for what we think is one of the most outstanding home football schedules in Troy history, as they open up on August 31st at 5 p.m. against Campbell University. Then they're going to take off the next week, but on September the 14th, they play a huge home game against Southern Mississippi. That is a 5 o'clock kickoff on September the 14th. Then they're on the road to Akron, I believe, that week. And then the next week, September 28th, another huge Sun Belt Conference game against Arkansas State at 5 p.m. Now, that 5 p.m. is not a bad time, of the day, because it's going to give people time to get there and time to get back,
Perfect.
and of course that's going to be a huge game against a big rivalry. Then on the 16th of October, on a Wednesday night, now you need to talk to your preacher about this and to make sure that you
No church service.
have your church services on Tuesday night or whatever. But they play South Alabama on October 16th at 7 o'clock on national TV at home on Troy's brand new facility, the new playing field. And on November the 9th, this is a 2:30 kickoff. It's homecoming at Troy on November the 9th. 2:30 kickoff with Georgia Southern, and that should be quite a football game.
Georgia Southern and Southern Miss are great rivals of Troy.
Good programs, too.
Well, South Alabama, a great rival of Troy.
Yeah.
Arkansas State, great rival of everybody that's at home is a great rival of Troy.
Of course, again, that's a 2:30 kickoff on November the 9th. And then on November the 29th, Troy plays a huge, in fact, a game that could determine on who wins the East Division. And that is Troy and Appalachian State. That should be a great game at 5 p.m. But tickets are now on sale, and I promise you, you won't find any better football anywhere. We were talking the other day, a ticket to the Alabama-Auburn game is $125. Well, you can get a season ticket at Troy for $100, and it would be a numbered seat for $115 for a season package. A season package, can you believe that? Or if you got some very good seats in the the end zone are on the
For
other.
less than that.
Yeah, for $65. So that's quite a deal at Troy University, and I would think that a lot of people will take advantage of it. Surely, the whole family ought to be able to go to the game. I was looking also at a lot of kids were able to study abroad, and to me, that's a great sign of a university that wants their students to not only learn here but learn abroad.
Haven't you always heard that you get the best education by traveling?
And several Troy students were overseas this summer, and a lot of fun. Also, want to congratulate the Whaley Construction is doing the new fitness center, which is going to be they call it not just fitness center, they call it wellness center. I don't know where they got that, but
oh, that's the new term.
but it's great, and we appreciate what they've done. A small town construction company building all these great buildings.
Now, what are they going to put where Sartain Hall was? Is that going to be a parking garage?
Yeah, I think a lot of that will be parking, and which will be great. Also, just a great magazine, and we appreciate it. We thumbed through here, and of course we've covered most everything.
The color in that magazine is fantastic.
Oh yeah, it really is.
As somebody that used to be a publisher, that is high quality.
And another thing, this good article on Katie Hawkins and Bale and her husband, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Bale, already a lieutenant colonel in beautiful
the Air Force.
And then the proud parents of Noah. I remember when Noah was born, and daughter Eliot. Well, how would you pronounce that? Eliante.
Eliot. Ellyotte.
I'm sure they call her Ellie, and she's cute and pretty as she can be. And of course, Katie, the Chancellor's daughter, beautiful picture then. Also, great look at the walk, the Trojan walk, and I have a little bit to do with that. I'm the one of these guys that wanted them to get in tight, and so the guys will really enjoy the players will enjoy the walk. But it's just wonderful to read about different alumni and friends and what they've done for the university, and it's just very interesting reading. So I recommend everybody go by and pick up a copy.
And the first game, today is the 12th. The first game is the 31st. Let's see,
That's
12
right.
minus 31 is 19 days.
No question about it. No question about it. And just proud to be a part of Troy University. And of course, this magazine is very good. I also want to congratulate the Messenger. Their magazine I thought was very good, and featuring some of our outstanding young people.
Yeah, that magazine looks real good too.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of Today in L.A. That's Lower Alabama.
Safety first at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we practice safety first. That's right, safety first. Remember, school is about to start. Look twice, then look again. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, where safety is first. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, 401k, up to 4% of your gross pay. We match it, 4% of your gross pay. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Drive for the best, Wiley Sanders.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up.
You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town and Country Flooring Center.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, brought to you by Jean's Flowers on South Brundy Street. And I tell you, Martha Lynn, good friend of mine, they can mail flowers all over this world. And, of course, you know, they do it very easily. And, of course, anything you get through Jean's Flowers is beautiful, and we appreciate it.
Always has been.
Piggly Wiggly, located on North 39th Street in Troy, and also on the bypass in Troy also. A great opportunity to buy groceries at a very reasonable price. And I'll recommend their produce section. I recommend their meat department. I love their country ribs, and their vegetables are always outstanding.
And super nice people that work there, too.
No question about it. And I also want to mention our good friends at Lawrence Hardware, located right across the street from us, or really just down the street from us, right here in Troy. And, of course, all those great, if you go in there, you feel like you're in a different world. I mean, parts of all types, of all mechanisms or whatever. There's a screw for every boat, and there's all kinds of old farm equipment, garden equipment.
And there'll be some employee that can help you find what you need to find.
Yeah, exactly right.
A knowledgeable person.
No question. And I told them they need to start providing maybe a donut and a cup of coffee, because this is really a unique, very unique hardware store that you won't find many places in this country. And now they're getting Benjamin Moore paint in, and that's going to be a big thing too. Mm-hmm. And of course, we appreciate the whole staff there at Lawrence, and we appreciate them very much. Of course, I want to mention this is a great hamburger and a great chicken at Goldfinger's on the bypass, located right next to Publix, and it is wonderful food. They're French fries. I don't know what they do, but you know, they're the crinkle kind, and they just pop in your mouth. They're just that crisp, and they're delicious. The reason I mentioned that hamburger, their hamburgers are wonderful. Of course, they specialize in chicken, delicious chicken. I also want to mention Sam Judah, my good friend at Circle Insurance in downtown Ozark, one of my very good friends, and he's one of the leading insurers in that part of the country. And of course, Dixieland Dental, located 9 miles north of Dothan on Highway 231. Dr. Michael Precise, Dr. John Strength, Dr. Damon Strength, and Dr. Robert Precise make up one of the largest dental clinics in Alabama. Mike Amos, along with my good friend Bill Rice Jr., and of course his son, late son, grandson of Hickey Chapman, and of course the son of one of the all-time great football players in Alabama, Bill Rice Sr., and of course Marcia Chapman, also very well known at the University of Alabama.
Well,
in the late 50s, early 60s.
It's amazing to me, Mike, how you know everybody in Troy and who they married to, their children, what year they graduated. He can name the starting lineup from a football team 8 years before he was even in high school.
That's
right. Amazing.
The 1957 football team that won the South Alabama Conference Championship. I would like to say this. Bill is we were the last team to win that conference championship. They won it twice to our knowledge, and that was when your daddy was a senior. And then my senior year,
who was your coach?
Under Frank Sadler, we also won the South Alabama Conference Championship. We played Opp on a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, down in Opp, and Rattlesnake Jones, the great kicker, had us kick the 45-yard field goal, and they led with about 4 minutes to go, and then we drove 80 yards for the final touchdown. Sonny Williford took it over for the touchdown, and we won the South Alabama Conference Championship, which was
what year was that? 1964.
1964, and that was quite a thing because they didn't have the playoffs back then. And
when did the playoffs come along?
Well, I'll be able to tell you that because I want to say 68 or 69. I coached on that team with Jim Tompkins, me and William Davis and Jim Tompkins and let's see, James Gordon Flowers was a student coach, and my other guy was Lou Vickery, coached on that team.
What did you coach?
I coached linemen and linebackers, and we went on and played in the first round of the. Back then we were 3A.
Yeah.
And
they only had 4
Lanier,
classifications.
Yeah, that's right. Lanier was 4A. But we went to Russellville to play Russellville, who had won 33 straight games under this guy named Doty up there. We got there were 10,000 fans in that stadium.
Wow.
Boy, they loved their football up there. And we played them off their feet, and we had won all our games except for the opening game of the season against Opp at Opp. We ran back the opening kickoff and lost 13-7 to Opp. And then, of course, we won the rest of our games until we played Russellville. And, boy, what a great game. Now, some of the guys on that team was Steve Flowers. He made a great catch in that game. Marvin Barron, later played in Alabama. Probably one of the, of course, Larry Pruitt was one of the top players on that team. And we could just go on and on about those guys. They were very good. And but lost on the last play of the game on a 47-yard field goal, kicked by a guy that had never kicked a field goal in his life.
47 yards.
47
That's a long
yards.
way back then.
And they beat us 10-7. And
what a heartbreaker.
They continued the next week. It was just 4 teams in the playoffs, and we were one of them. The other teams were it was Russellville and Charles Henderson, and then the other one was Sachs of Anniston against Fairfield. All right, and Sachs beat Fairfield, and then the team that beat us 10-7 beat Sachs for the championship 52-0.
So what you're saying is that team came 1 field goal away from winning the state championship.
That's right, exactly. That was that good.
Well,
coached by Jim Tompkins.
That is history that I was not aware of, that you're that close to winning it all.
Wayne Davis was on that team. I want to say Mike Hogan was on that team. Mark Kelly, I think, was on that team, a younger player. Of course, they had some really good football players on that team. Of course, one of them was, Doug Beck and Bill Colley and you know those guys, didn't you?
So how did Jim Tompkins, did he go from Charles Henderson to an assistant at Troy? Or?
That's right. He went from head coach at Charles Henderson to assistant at Troy, and he was a great linebacker coach at Troy and defense coordinator under Coach
Bradshaw. But he must have gone to Troy before.
He was
Coach
there.
Bradshaw.
He was there under Bird Wiggum too for a little while, and it might have been. He was also there with the great coach. Robert E. Lee High School. What was his name? Tom Jones.
Okay.
And then
you were on the South Alabama Conference Championship team in '64. That '68 team darn near won the state championship.
Yeah, they were really good. And I coached that team, and they ran out of Power I, and they didn't do anything fancy. Ben Smith was on that team. James Davis was a great player on that team. Do you know James Davis?
Yeah.
Hey, he was a great high school football player.
What did he play?
Oh, he played linebacker. And he made a hit in that ball game. They were going up, running up and down on the field on us, and you'll get a kick out of this. How many times did your coach tell you to not stand around a kick? You know, break down once you get to the ball. If it's not fair caught and it's rolling, don't stand around. Just break down around it and be ready for anything. Well, Jane Davis hit a guy that you could have heard that all around that stadium, and from there on, that was a tremendous football game.
I talk about hits. I saw an old teammate, Michael Thomas, in the store the other day. He's retired as a state trooper, but he was on the 1980 state championship team.
He played tight end, didn't he?
He was a defensive end. Nobody played both ways, so he was outside linebacker,
right.
defensive end, and
Michael Kelly was the name I'm thinking about to play tight end. Michael Kelly, you remember him?
Yeah. Well, let me finish my Michael Thomas story before I forget it.
Okay.
It was a punt in the playoffs against Greenville, and Greenville's always super physical. Ken Anderson was running back to the punt, and he's got up ahead of steam, and there's just needed one block to get to the corner, and Michael Thomas cracked back on somebody from Greenville and just took his head off. I mean, everybody in the stadium saw it coming, and you talk about pow.
Yeah.
And then Ken Anderson ran the punt back for a touchdown, and we won that game by one touchdown. That was the difference.
Kent was an excellent kick returner.
He
Really
was,
real
real
good.
quick.
Good little receiver, too, you know, on that
Isn't
team.
there some new rule in NCAA football about the crackback block where you can't do it anymore?
You couldn't do what Michael Thomas did then.
No, you're right. And we used to crack back all the time. And, you know, let me tell you a little story.
Killed the LSU quarterback in the bowl game. Central Florida did.
Well, let me tell you this. We were playing against Op one night, and of course Mike DeBose was a year behind Marvin Barron, so he was a senior though on this Op team, and we were going to crack back on him, you know, on DeBose because he was just a great linebacker.
I heard
he made about 30 tackles against us that night, and Dale Taylor was wide receiver for us. You know, of course Dale's a businessman here in town, not a real big guy. And he wasn't really a big guy then, but we told him to crack back on Dubose, and so we ran a play, and he cracked back, and nothing happened. Dubose made a tackle and did it one more time, and I called him over there. I said, Dale, can't you block that guy? He said, Coach, it's like hitting a light pole. It's what he said. He's like hitting a light pole. He's just like, I mean, he was that tough. And,
I've always heard he was a fantastic high school player and a great college player at Alabama.
And of course, you know, he was a great player. Marvin Barron was a great player. Collins was a great player also at Charles Henderson. James Davis was a great player at Charles Henderson. And
Gary
Hussey. Let me tell you something. Leon Hussey. Have you ever heard that name?
Yeah.
Boy, what a great player he was. And of course, he played nose and played guard and defensive guard. And he was in the backfield most of the time against the opposing team. But those were great teams coached by Jim Tompkins, very strong teams that, you know, they hit the weights real big, you know.
You know, the DuBose story, the more I think about DuBose, it's still amazing that he ended up getting the head coaching job at Alabama, because a lot of people don't even realize, you know, he was only a defense coordinator 1 year for Stalin.
Yeah.
And he got promoted to head coach.
I know it.
So he'd been a defensive line coach. And that's still amazing he got that job. I still am shocked.
And he had his moments, don't get me wrong, and I like Mike DeBose, and I'm for Mike DeBose and everything he does.
He had off-the-field issues as a coach at Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. And again, he was immature. He was immature in a way, no question about it. You know, no experience as a head coach. And of course, you know, Stallings was a legend, and Coach Bryant was a legend. Ray Perkins was the worst mistake Alabama ever made as a coach, I think.
Bill Curry.
Bill Curry took an Alabama team that was undefeated to Auburn one time.
Yeah, but he never even beat Auburn.
Yeah.
Surely you think Perkins was better than Curry.
They're probably about Curry's record winning percentage is actually better than Perkins. And then I think Curry, he recruited all that national championship team that Stallings had in '92 was made up primarily of Bill Curry, recruits.
Well, Homer Smith was the offensive coordinator, you know, and had that high scoring in that Hollingsworth. You remember the big tall
he was good.
Quarterback.
Kevin Turner was the fullback, and Saran Stacy, and
yeah,
that was a good team.
That's the team that got down to Ole Miss one time, 28-0, and came back and won 62-28.
Yeah, I saw that game on TV. I remember it so well. We were doing something.
Jackson.
Even the mountaintop game that Auburn won, that it was so loud. Alabama had its chances in that game, even.
Well, you're right. No question about it. And actually, if they'd had replay, they would have won that game with Freddie Kitchens, Mike, wouldn't they?
Yeah, we're talking about before that, though. We're talking about when Roger Schultz was the center and Alabama Curry took an undefeated team into Auburn the first time the game got moved to Auburn.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all a personal question. Let me ask you a personal question. Have you ever heard of a linebacker named Conley Duncan?
When he played Tennessee?
He had hit and knocked down by Conley Duncan at the Alabama 14-yard line. Conley Duncan was a great linebacker at Alabama that people don't hear much of. Have you ever?
There was one. Wayne Davis was a great linebacker at Alabama, and his son is on the team right now.
What happened to his son?
He has underachieved so far.
I talked to people from Gordo. They said that was the most ridiculous thing ever, that he was a 5-star prospect.
Because he played at Gordo.
He was a good high school player at a 3A school, but had no business, being that high.
I was wondering about that.
And a lot of people said that he was not going to play at Alabama, and he hadn't played at Alabama.
He has a chance this year because of the depth at outside line.
If he gets beat out this year, because they have nobody left at linebacker, if he doesn't play this year, there's a sign that he should probably move on and go down to 1AA or Division II.
Did they move him to a down lineman? Is that or rush in?
Yeah, outside linebacker, rush in.
Yeah. That rush in is becoming, next to quarterback, is becoming probably one of the biggest positions on the field. I used to say the nose guard was.
They're saying Zoe Bridges, who was out last year for Troy because of academics, and he's back this year. And, of course, he played for Brian Blackman at Opelika, and they say you can't even hardly block Zoe Bridges this year.
Ooh, I like hearing that. That's like DeMarcus Ware. Nobody could ever block DeMarcus Ware. You remember that?
Mike, they look like that they really like their defense, but like Rice said, defense is always ahead of the offense this time of year.
Well, you're going up against the same thing every day. I imagine, that the offense is, not doing everything in their playbook either. So, one of those things I'm going to be interested to see once they play against Southern Miss. If Troy can win the line of scrimmage against them, I'll feel pretty good the rest of the season.
Mike, how good is Hook's barbecue ribs?
It's real good. I'm having a big bluegrass barbecue party for my wife's 40th down here in Grayton, and it's hard to not want Hooks to cater it for me. I know that.
Have you got a band for that event?
Yeah, I've got a bluegrass band that played the Red Bar every Sunday for the last 15 years. Dread Clampett.
Dread Clampett. You mean that old band that plays on Sunday afternoon down there?
Yeah, they're good friends with my wife, and we enjoy bluegrass music. Some people might not like it as much as we do, but we love it, and that's who we got to play for the 40th.
Well, that's her birthday, so you get the band you like at your birthday.
Yeah, we're also going to throw it in with my little Mary Prater. She's going to be 3 on Monday, so we're just going to have a combined birthday. So Mary Prater's going to thank all those people from Birmingham, and everybody's going to be there for her.
I think you inherited your dad's ability to organize a big event or a special event.
I used to throw a lot of parties back in the day. Actually, I threw a bunch in high school they don't even know about.
I've had bands in my backyard before. He bring some of his buddies in there.
I've had parties that on property mom and dad still don't know about.
Yeah, probably do. Yeah.
I think I had one or two that.
Mike, I'm not big on
about.
Rocky Top after a Tennessee touchdown, but I love Rocky Top. Tell them to sing Rocky Top for me.
All right, we might do that.
I was talking to my wife yesterday. We were talking about y'all's house. I said, let's ride up to. I said, Mike and Carol at the beach. Let's go up to their house and go swimming. I was joking. And she said, I've been swimming at his house. She went when she was in college, and she said that her fraternity buddies you told them that whenever y'all
Oh,
want to
yeah.
come swimming, come over. And
Oh,
she
yeah.
said they would actually call you up, and you say, all right,
Well,
y'all come.
they've sure been to some parties where some people might have been thrown into the pool, you know. Yeah, and of course
She talked about how gracious you were to accommodate.
well, I
students.
always made sure the pledges cleaned up and made sure my yard looked good.
Good.
No question about it. Of course, this show is brought to you by Sisters, and no better place to eat anywhere than Sisters. They'll have a full buffet today with delicious fresh vegetables and.
Do they take off Monday or are they open Monday?
No, they're open Mondays. They're open Mondays through.
The buffet is even on Monday now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think the buffet starts on Wednesday.
No, it's buffet
Every day now.
every day.
Yeah.
I'm always
Wow, that's
positive.
crazy.
Well, it's been that way lately. Is the buffet is a? Am I right by that? Buffet is regular now.
You used to go in there on Monday and Tuesday and just order off the menu,
Yeah.
and then the buffet was Wednesday.
But it's buffet now all the way through Friday, night, and then again.
I was
The
wondering.
only day they're off is on Saturday, but then they come back for a huge buffet on Sunday.
Think of all the work that goes into. They must serve 500 plus people
Oh,
on
at least
Sunday.
that much. Do the
I mean,
math.
you think of getting the food ready, the waiters and waitresses seating all those people. Washing all the dishes, the bus boys. It's a huge logistical operation to run a restaurant that busy.
I can't imagine what it's like when some football players come in that place, how much they eat.
And then they, I know they had some baseball teams. They had one of them was from, gosh, let's see, up north, Mike. Who was that came to Troy that played?
Well, all the famous football players now go down where Mike's living, down to the beaches of 38, don't they? I mean, it's been discovered.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people down this way. There's no doubt.
And of course, the Red Bar. Are they starting to do anything with that?
They're not doing anything with the Red Bar. It's just sitting there. I rode by it yesterday going out to the beach.
And of course, they still bus people down there.
A lot of people don't realize, they have the sister restaurant, Louie. So if you want the Red Bar food, you just got to get on 98 and head towards Santa Rosa.
That's right. I rode by it this weekend.
Yeah.
No question about it. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a big weekend coming up at Troy University. First of all, you got a big scrimmage coming up about 9:30 this coming Saturday from the stadium, and you'll be able to see the brand new playing surface. And then at 1 o'clock, meet the Trojans, the football team, the cheerleaders, the soccer team, and the volleyball teams will all be at the Trojan Arena where you can get autographs, and there'll be plenty of ice cream and desserts.
The guy gonna cook hot dogs like he usually does?
I'm sure he probably will, and he does a wonderful job with that. And
Bring the whole family.
bring the whole family. It's just a great day.
It's been a really good turnout. That's been impressive. I saw something that was pretty impressive as well. Speaking of Troy's former coach, Neil Brown, I was looking at some stuff about West Virginia the other day, and he loaded his team into buses, and they went to one of the biggest coal mines in West Virginia, and all the coal miners were out there standing in a line, clapping for them when they got off the bus. And basically, they had a day at the coal mine with these West Virginia coal miners, eating lunch, hanging out, telling stories. Neil Brown went underground in the coal mine. I mean, all this was filmed. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Neil Brown is a really good PR guy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, let me tell you what he told them. He said, "Boys, I want to show you what tough really is."
Yeah, it was all
Buddy, you go down 2,000 feet underground. That's what tough really is. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Isn't that amazing? He brought his whole team.
Oh yeah, and boy, don't you know that was a big hit?
Well, that served
Those
two
folks.
purposes. It got the coal mining people behind this program more.
Yeah.
And then it probably did teach those players that, you better take advantage of this college education if you don't want to end up going in a coal mine 10 hours a day for 40 years.
No question about it.
The average coal miner makes $89,000 a year, though. I read that one day.
First, I want to mention First Cahaba Bank, located on Publix Parkway in Troy, and beautiful new bank, and of course Grady Caps and all the great folks, Roxy, and I've known those folks for a long time. They're great people. It's a great new bank in Troy, Alabama. First Cahaba Bank, and we appreciate them very much. Bill Rice is with me. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Short break with 5 minutes left.
Oh, is that what it is?
Safety first at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we practice safety first. That's right, safety first. Remember, school is about to start. Look twice, then look again. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, where safety is first. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, 401k. Up to 4% of your gross pay, we match it. 4% of your gross pay. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Troy, Alabama. Drive for the best. Wiley Sanders.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up.
You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town & Country Flooring Center.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by our good friends at Health Actions Physical Therapy, located on the bypass right here in Troy, right before you take a left to go into Hook's Barbecue. You'll see it on the left, and they do a great job. Also, our good friends at All-Star Collision on the bypass. And also, I want to remind you that Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram truck on the bypass are dealing, and I mean they're really dealing, and gave me a deal I could not refuse about a week or so, and I love that new Jeep Cherokee that I bought from Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep.
So when the high school jamboree start? Is that this week or the next?
No, it's Charles Simpson. Let me, I can give you that. Well, we'll just wait till tomorrow, but it's the 23rd, Pike County.
Okay, so that's the next week.
Pike County comes to Troy on the 23rd of August, and last time they came, it took about half the fans got in before halftime. They had just one gate open and really messed up.
Well, I bet that won't happen again, surely.
That's right, no question about it. But it was a terrible, as far as if you had kids playing and you couldn't get in there to see them because of the gates. So hopefully they'll be prepared for a huge crowd, because this is a game where people come in from everywhere, to see a good football game.
All the alumni come back.
And it is a rivalry.
You got to remember, it doesn't count, though. It's not a win or a loss for either team.
Well, and it also tells me, too, that Charles Simpson just has a 9-game schedule of regular season games. They're just playing 9 games.
Brad McCoy, the head coach, is the athletic director. He makes the schedule, so that's on him.
And we'll get more into it, but they open up, though, on August the 30th at home against the Enterprise Wildcats. We hope to be bringing that game to you live on Troy Cable. So that's going to be a great game. And then they'll come back and play Rehoboth. Those first 3 games, if you counted Pike County, would be at home. But then they go on the road on September 13th and the 20th, one at Oxford, one of the top programs in 6A, and then Beauregard away, another tough area game. Then they'll come back and have a bye on the 27th. Then on October the 4th, they'll play Greenville. October 7th, Greenville will be homecoming here in Troy. Then they play away at Carroll High on the 11th, at home against Tallahassee on the 18th. Then they'll finish up the season with Valley and Baldwin County on the road. So tough schedule, no question about it.
Pretty good schedule.
No. You look at that, there's no easy ball game out there, and it's going to be something. It's going to be a lot of fun. But football season's right here with us, and we're excited. Pike Liberal Arts gets started on the 25th.
You got Florida, Miami, not this weekend, but the next. How great is that?
That's right. Johnny Williams got a game. Also, Sanford University playing a team from Ohio, Mike.
Yeah, the great Bo Pelini, one of your favorite coaches.
Bo Pelini comes to town with, what's the name of that school?
The Youngstown State. One of the winningest programs in 1AA history.
That's right. And that'll be the first game of the year. That'll be that afternoon.
Great Jim Trussell.
Yeah, no question about it. He's the president of that university, Trussell is. Yeah, that's right, the president of Youngstown State. Hope you enjoyed our show, and of course, remember you can watch it again now. We also have highlights coming up too of Charles Henderson Picture Day, which they did on Friday, and we appreciate the great work that was done there. Then, of course, we've got Pike County High School Picture Day also coming up. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll see you again tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in L.A.